Ole Miss picks up a commitment from Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste. Let's learn more about the player and what he brings.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast extra edition. We're going to do this extra video for Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste, who was the first commitment for the 2022-23 recruiting transfer portal cycle. So I know that's a lot to take in, but let's learn a little bit more about this player. We're going to, first of all, we have a little bit of a playlist here. Jean-Baptiste announced on Twitter that he was going to Ole Miss. Now, he's a 230-pound thumper. If you look at the UCF stories about him, he's a true thumper. That's the type of linebacker he is, and he is a replacement for Troy Brown. Everybody's going to point to Ashante C. Strunk or something like that. They're going to try and match it up. No, he is the replacement for Troy Brown. He's expected to come in and take over that middle linebacker position and provide some of the stuff that Troy, and before him, even Chance Campbell provided. As you can see, he lined it up at 400 to 553 snaps on the interior linebacker, but did play outside about 20% of the time. This is a decent player. You're going to be all right. It's not necessarily an upgrade because I don't think we can underestimate what Troy Brown did, and before it, Chance Campbell. The middle linebacker position has become a very productive position in the Ole Miss system. But Jean-Baptiste can absolutely continue that and maybe even improve them because of the physics problems that I've told you guys about now seemingly for 3 months. This alleviates that a little bit because Troy Brown, he might be listed at 220, but he probably played at 215, probably played at 210. Jean-Baptiste, 230 pounds, a true thumper designed to stop the run game. So that gives you an idea where their head's at. Anyway, this bonus episode of this show is brought to you by the NHTSA. Did you know that driving high is considered driving under the influence? That's right. Driving under the influence of marijuana is against the law in every state, even in states where marijuana is legal. That means you could drive high and get a DUI. And if you think law enforcement officers can't tell when you're driving high, you're wrong. Your friends can tell, your coworkers can tell, hell, even your parents can tell. Everyone can tell. So what makes you think that law enforcement officers don't know when you're driving high? Driving under the influence of marijuana can slow your response time and change how you perceive time and speed. So even if you think you're fine to drive when you're high, you're not. Because the bottom line is, if you feel different, you drive different. And driving high is driving under the influence. So remember, drive high, get a DUI. This is paid for by NHTSA. Also, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Do us a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications, and participate in the comments down below and upvote the video itself. We'd appreciate it very much. Anyway, this season, Jean-Baptiste played all 12 games. He's been a stalwart with over 150 tackles in his career at UCF. He is a guy that his best game happened against a Power 5 opponent. Now, granted, it was Georgia Tech, and we all saw what Georgia Tech was. But he ended up with 7 tackles, a forced fumble, and a sack in that game. So, one of those situations where you know he has a chance to be pretty good. And he will absolutely fulfill a role. So, we'll see exactly how this plays out and what the snowball effect will be in the transfer portal. So, you have different type players. We talked about John Saunders, the big guy out of Miami, Ohio, cornerback. We talked about Andre Carter, the edge out of Western Michigan. We've talked with them with Mike Huseman. We've talked about Adari Hulsey, I might be butchering his name, and I apologize for that, from New Mexico, who is a close personal friend of Chris Marshall, who's the wide receiver from Texas A&M. those are kind of the transfer portal names to watch at the moment. Other players may pop up. The staff is incredibly secretive about their transfer portal and their recruiting gambit, so somebody might just pop up. Now, in high school recruiting, the thing we're keeping an eye on this weekend is, like I said, Marcel Reed is at Texas A&M. Ole Miss is hoping that goes honestly according to schedule, I guess you could say. But they hope that they can get the upper hand come early signing day, which is next Wednesday. It's Wednesday, the 21st. So we'll see how that goes. Ole Miss is recruiting some flip candidates, including Kelly Jones from Mississippi State, offensive lineman from Old Dominion, and I think a Purdue commit from Louisiana. So that's what going around Twitter is like shown me. So we'll see exactly how it goes. Should be a lot of fun to see. But I just wanted to hop on and give you guys a quick video of Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste, a true middle linebacker who is committed to Ole Miss via the transfer portal. He'll enroll in January and get started, but he has a chance to make the same impact that Chance Campbell made, the same impact that Troy Brown made. So it's a pretty good pickup for the Ole Miss Rebels. Now we turn our attention to the other players that are going about. So anyway, I hope everybody has a good weekend. For the most part, I'm going to be away from things today until the Ole Miss Temple game tomorrow. But if something breaks, I'll try to get something out. It may not be immediate. We don't try to do immediate. We don't want to try and break news. But if there's something we need to talk about, we'll talk about. So I hope everybody has a good day. Remember, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen today. For your second listen today, check out Locked On Sports Today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. It's Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Anyway, thank you for watching today. And like I said, if something else happens, we'll try to get something out. See you later.